you should know. Wiser Books is, and you can always go to the printer and see what they have on their website available for direct purchase. But Wiser Books is like, I don't know, they own the rights to every like major. This is a Bible of witchcraft. This is a Bible of, uh, in this case, American hoodoo. This is a Bible of et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They publish most of the great names in occult, American occult published history, known history. And some of their stuff has built the foundations of the contemporary metaphysical culture. So Wiser Books publishes them, and it's super cheap. I think the last time I looked, it's like $13 hardcover, beautiful edition. Super easy, very easily organized, right? He covers some basic hoodoo magic, egg cleansings, spiritual baths, incense, and he covers a bunch of other things like floor wash.
Is it not responding?
What's that?
Sorry, didn't realize I was off mute.
Oh, okay. Including other things like spiritual baths. You can see that I've used it quite a bit. I have marginalia all through my book, right? I write in my books. They're my books. I love them. And some things just are like amazing to know and important and spur creative conversations of my own. Anyways, he's an amazing author who is so approachable, easy for anyone to read. And I think I said, including all of the recipes for stuff. And he even gives you here's how to do this basic recipe, right? Florida water. And now you can use your Florida water in these other 10 recipes. So fabulous, an incredible author. He has several books, spiritual cleansings, but this class is kind of loosely modeled after. And I'm not teaching his material, and I haven't been, but it's important work to kind of the thinking. And the techniques that I'm teaching are based on my own personal informed practice over years' time using some of Mikaharik's material. So there you go. The other book that is the resource for this particular class is The Ballad of Biddy Early. And the author of this is Nancy Willard. It is an illustrated hardcover. The illustrator, if you care, is Barry Moser. Also incredibly slim. And this is, if I would be shocked and surprised if Neil Gaiman hadn't already like devoured this, and if it isn't one of his favorites on his shelf. It is a book of poetry written for children to consume, right? So there's illustrations and then kids' poetry, right? It's kind of like, I don't know, if you've read Little Big, well, let me grab it. Be just a second while I grab this giant monster of a book. The compendium and source of most people's understandings of everything fae, as in the fairies, Little Big, by John Crowley.
I love that book.
That's right. If you know the book, you know the book, right? This, by the way, is the newest. It's the newest edition. The afterword Harold Bloom. There's an afterword written by Harold Bloom. If you know who Harold Bloom is, if you don't know who Harold Bloom is, he's a world famous linguist who has kind of transformed some of the academic approaches to everything from contemporary linguistic analysis as applied in a literary setting. His student was, most famous student was Camille Paglia, who was one of the forerunners in a postmodern feminist approach with her incredible, groundbreaking book, Sexual Personae. Anyways, so very much in the Ballad of Betty Early, right, which is source material for tonight, right, is very much in the vein of Little Bit, right, where it's a disguised book. This woman, and you will know it if you read her book, knows more about Fae and the fairies than anyone but Neil Gaiman and possibly John Crowley. And the poem that I have used for years to protect my home is right here on, I know they don't have pages, of course, because it's meant to be flipped through like a kid's book. Oh, love it. The charm of the gold road, the silver road, and the hidden road. And this poem was very specifically the inspiration for tonight's class, warding. Now, last week I covered spiritual cleansing. I'm not going to be covering that tonight. So, and I think the third class in this series, I'm going to work on ghost busting with you guys. So that's coming up. But this poem, I will, after this meeting, I will post the poem in the chat, the words of the poem in the chat for you to take away and use if you care to. I'm going to read the poem to you during the course of the class. So poetry coming up. It's going to be super fun. Anyways, so
and it looks like we have 8 people who joined us. So welcome, everybody.
welcome. Hi, I'm Shen Tat. I was just, do you know how long, did you guys miss the book source material? Did anyone miss the books we're covering? No.
I missed
Okay,
the
I'm
very
going to take
first
that to
one.
mean that nobody missed it,
Oh.
correct?
Honey said she missed the first book.
Okay, all right. So the very first book that was okay. So to lay down some groundwork for this, why am I referencing these books when I'm actually teaching the class? I'm not teaching the material in the books, but what I am teaching is my personal mileage using the techniques and theory in these books. So the inspiration and source material, my lived experience using the material in this book for yesterday's class, spiritual cleansing, and part of today's class, warding, is spiritual cleansing. And his name is very unusual, Draja, Draja Mikaharik, Mickaharic. I realize that's flipped. I'm sorry. I don't know how to make it do. So his book, incredibly slim. What did I say? $13 hardcover, super cheap. I've used this for literally years and years and years. I have marginalia. I have page markers and multiple pages, right? It's unbelievable source book and incredibly approachable and can be read in a day. It includes recipes and many of which I have used for years because they simply work. They're efficacious. And what he prides himself on is that all of the required ingredients really are things that you can either easily get at Target or the grocery store or that you already have in your house. Mega bonus. So that was the inspiration for yesterday's class.
Oh.
You saw the book for the inspiration for this class. Awesome. So warding. And how is that different from cleansing? Let's talk a little bit of theory first. Oh, I didn't even introduce myself. Sorry, guys. So, oh, good God, how do I even know that how do you even know how I know anything? So I'm a witch in a couple of traditions, two traditions that are traditional witchcraft, right, where you are initiated by, and you know your initiator and your initiator's initiator and all of that. Very martial artish, right? Where you have to learn from a teacher and then they initiate you into a coven. So I'm a member of a couple of covens and have studied witchcraft on my own and done self work for years and years and years since I was really about 13. And I'm 57 now. And my wife and I run a coven out of Littleton and own land. And we actually allow you guys, the this online school, to use the land for the retreats, annual retreats. So like that. Awesome. So yeah, and I led a bunch of rituals and I have some experience under my belt. Okay. And I have a lot of years of constant practice. Okay. That said, howdy. Thank you for coming. I value your time. How warding and how is warding different than cleansing? So in spiritual cleansing, really what we're trying to do is exorcise a space. With warding, we want to keep and protect that cleansed space, right? Meaning that we want some kind of a membrane barrier container, right, that is held for us without us having to foot the bill of the energy to maintain it. Okay. Now, many of these magics I wanted to find, and I could not find fast enough. Sorry, we're in the middle of reorganizing our libraries upstairs in the temple, and Jade's got like all the books are ripped out. I don't know where anything is. But I wanted to mention to you a book series, and could you quickly for me, Alex, Google witchcraft and magic on Carlu and Clark. Clark, just like Clark. On Carlu, Ankarloo. On Carlu and Clark, magic and witchcraft. And would you please post the ISBN for or the some link from Amazon to the series into the chat for me? Would you be willing to do that, or should I do that after?
No, I can totally do it. Can you spell the first name one more time?
Ankarloo, Ankarloo, and Clark. It's magic and witchcraft. It's a whole series of books. There's like 7 books.
Uh-huh. Yes. And
Awesome.
what link did you want me to post?
Any of them, even just pick one, it doesn't matter. We are covering some of the material today from the Hellenistic period.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could link to the Hellenistic one if all of you find that you humans find that the material that we covered tonight is very compelling for you. Some of the material is coming directly from Oncarlo and Clark's Hellenistic period installment of magic and witchcraft in Europe. And so this series, by the way, by Oncarlo and Clark, it's a curated, they're just the editors, right? They reach out to content experts in all of these witchcraft and magic fields, have them write academically rigorous articles for their series that are in fact academic. So they're limited in a lot of ways to just praxis, or if you're not familiar with the term praxis is like the recipe and how to follow the recipe for a spell, right? So they're really stuck in things they can measure because they're trying to be academic and not like wander off into like our class, spiritual realms, right? They want to keep it, what did people do and what was their belief about what they were doing from a magical perspective. So throughout history. And in this period, we're covering warding, right? In the Hellenistic period, there are several articles that cover warding and place or house cursing. And yeah, anyways. So if you care, you can look at the series. There's some of the material. So warding. Yeah, we talked about the energy. Where does the energy come from? Well, a lot of what I'm going to teach today is practice, but it's informed by your intention and will. And it does require you to touch base with the magic periodically. So the first piece is, does anyone know what an evil eye looks like? Does anyone not know what an evil eye looks like? The blue disc with the white disc with the black dot in the center. Has anyone never seen that? Or a hand of Fatima? Yes, very common. Awesome. Very good. Yeah, so the easiest and most practical means of creating wards for yourself that you can easily touch base with daily and re-energize with only just a puff of air, just a puff of energy, just a thought from your mind and a sense from your heart, is to create a touchstone or a lens. And what the lens that I love using actually is on the front of, like, show you guys. That's why I wanted to do this with my phone. On the front of my door frame, I have hung above my front door an evil eye. Now, why am I doing this, right? So, as you'll notice, a bespelled braid, and we'll talk about that in a second. That'll relate to witch bottles. And if I can, yeah, that's just, we have, guess who's watching our doorway? All right, let me flip the camera. Let's see, flip it. There we go. All right. So welcome. Here's your first a tip and trick for not having to use your own energy to keep a house warded. So who is this guy? This guy, his name is Exu, E-X-U, if you want to look him up. And he's part of the African diaspora religions, the Ifa. Now there's we'll get to him in a second. So here is the evil eye, right? Nailed above the door. And this gives me a touchstone. It gives me a thing that I can just simply connect with to say, I want you to reset all of the wards going all the way down to the street, over to my property line, back to my backyard, back through the fence to the end of the port patio, over and back to my house, right? So I just touched that in my heart, in my mind, give it some energy, right? Some of what we call mana, kefir, ankh. You will hear many terms on your journey in spiritual learning for life force. I prefer ankh, right? The breath of the gods, represented by literal ankhs being breathed into the priests and priestesses of the gods. Anyways, so place something on the outside of your house that you can touch base with. Now, we have a bunch of things, right? That you can do. One of the things that we have is we have a large granite slab from our land in Park County, and that's like sitting out there. We have so you can go with something that's completely invisible, right? We're very, oddly enough, for as much invisibility work as I do on this house, and to keep it really clean and well warded, we really have some weird shit on the outside of our house that probably, if people inspected too closely, would in suburban America, right, be a problem. Luckily, no one's looking too close. Anyways, they think it's all decor. So it's a thing that you can touch give the energy to, and it'll reset your wards. But it doesn't have to be that spectacular, right? Let's say you love working with angels, or you love working with Mary, or you love working with Loki, or you love working with Breed, or right. It's nothing more beautiful in my mind than a Breed's cross above the door. And frankly, there's nothing more Christian, German, and ancient practice than that. If you work with bird, animal spirit, put a flamingo outside your house, just something that you have a personal connection to, that when just once a day, you know, when you come down and you have your coffee, or when you make your tea, or you have your Diet Pepsi, or whatever it is that get your juices going, right? Just give a puff of energy to that outside, right? To that perimeter of your house, all the way from the top to the bottom. And if you have a basement, go onto the basement. Setting these wards is where Eshu comes into play, that I mentioned on the outside of the house, right? He is an entity that personally came to me, right? I dreamt Eshu many times, and then I found out the cowrie shells were him, and went to some went to the what is it called, the Santeria shop, right, and talked to their priests, and they're like, oh yes, here's his beads, and he likes candy, and he likes pretty coins and shiny shit, and give him river rocks, and this and this and this and this, and by the way, we have these concrete cowrie shell heads, right? I bought that one and had it blessed by one of them. However, the first one I made out of coconuts, like when dyed the coconut red with red palm oil, and then like used drilled some cowrie shells, used just a nail gun, pow, 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 2 for the eyes, 1 for the mouth, and put it outside my house. By the way, if you ever do this, and I would highly recommend you at least kind of talk to Eshu. If you talk to entities, right? If you don't talk to entities, you could talk to me about how to do that. You want to cast a sacred space around yourself, get yourself in a firm, cleansed container, and reach out. If some of you already have, if you're in this school, you already have guides or gods that you're already working with. Go to your spirit connection, have it connect you to Eshu, right? And yeah, just have a chat. He's a trickster. He's cute. He's fun. He also wants to bring his whole family in a U-Haul with him if you do work with him. So just know that. Setting boundaries are really important with these 8 entities. Yeah. Well, of course, get really upset. Well, they can, this is not cultural appropriation. This is, I have worked with Eshu for 25 years, right? With him protecting the outside of my house. And that's his job. And I spit rum on him anytime I need way opening. And I give him candy when I want to renew my sort of bond with him, to keep all, and this is how Jade puts it, vibrations below love out of my house. So that's the intent and will that I put on the perimeter of the house, the energetic sheath that keeps my cleansed space cleansed. Oh, what, Alex, what was that question from the chat? Can you repeat that for me?
She said, no, but I love this because Ocean has kept me up for a full 24 hours.
Ocean, oh yeah, boundary setting is so important with them. It's so important. The relationship is lovely, and I'll say this, working with that particular pantheon of gods is very seductive, because they bring you, they show up with a U-Haul. They all come in together. So one will introduce you to another, and you start getting like these tight bonds. But they're used to, just so you know, in their own internal practice, they ride their vessels. In other words, they take full control of their minds and bodies, and they transpossess these people. And for them, that's what they want. I'm a witch. I'm like, oh fuck no. there's only one ruler of this ship, and he's right here, sitting in this chair today talking to you. And I don't let any of those bitches into my body. Nope, nope, nope. The gods preserve the craft, and the craft preserves gods. It's a mutual relationship. And I need to get what I need to get back out of it from him that I ask for. And if I don't, I stop feeding him. And I tell him, all right, bud, either you're going to do your job or you're out of here. And your sister and brother and cousin and uncle. And so just boundary set. It's really important. The way I manage that metaphysically, by the way, it's really simple. You have your own connection with your own source of the divine, right? All of us, right? I teach a three soul system. Alex knows it. It's three parts of three parts. That we have a knowing part, we have a thinking part, and we have a feeling part, right? And the knowing part really bridges the gap between us and the height. Like, I have the boundaries of my experience in life and my worldview and my memory, and that's self with a little s. And then there's the big capital S self, right? Which includes all of the extensions upward from the really from the upper ajna to the crown chakra and higher, because there are higher like nodes and vibrations and layers of reality, including the astral, which is the initial bridge. That's why I say part of the third eye, which actually has two separate functions, one upwardly facing, one downwardly facing. One that creates flow and connection upwards to our own God soul is what we talk about in fairy tradition. And it's FERI if you want to look it up, and you can Google it. Victor Anderson was the founder of that, one of my traditions. Probably, as far as the tech, spiritual tech is concerned, it's closest to my heart, right? It's queer, it's awesome, and it bursts boundaries. It's so creative. Some of the biggest names in magic and witchcraft today all were somehow either in or adjacent to the lines of witchcraft that Victor Anderson passed on, him and his wife Cora. So anyways, out of Fresno, California, bless their souls. Who wants to live in Fresno? Anyways, so yeah, it's so easy tech to boundary set, right? Is talk to your own God soul, right? That part of you that when you speak to anything higher, you speak to it first, right? So we call it Johnny Gloss in fairy. It's just really the collective soul of humanity, and it kind of bridges to larger entities, and it gives you an entree to the college of the gods, meaning all non-corporeal, persistent through time, like these entity. We call them entities. They're really just like an intelligent, non-bodied being, right? So talk to that and say, hey, would you build me this connection to Oshun? And you manage, so it's outside of your, right? We have our auric egg, right? And crown chakra actually faces upwards out from, third eye faces forward. We don't want them coming in here. We want them dropping info here from our own God soul. We can feel presence. That's entirely other. But fairies, we don't let them in our bodies at all. You have this connection here, and that's all the connection you need to come through and give me great info. So if you have like buzzy guts, like talk to, yeah, you can talk to me. So if you just know that the energy that we get from direct physical contact with these entities is really it's not great. Victor talked about what it would do. It actually accelerates like genetic evolution, and sort of speeds up what you would think of it in a scientific standpoint as allelic substitution and error. So I don't need to evolve that fast. I really don't. That's why we actually push all that, what we call it monoloa, in other words, higher vibration of energy, God energy. We push it out of our bodies. And we allow it to be transformed by our personal connection, John and Klaus, to mana, just energy that we can use, right? And energy that we need and that kind of promotes metabolism as opposed to accelerates metabolism. I know that I know Alex has seen it. Other people that uh, just know these direct contact with these entities is very seductive for humanity. It's great to be omniscient. Yeah, it's fabulous to have like entree to psychic information that you never had before, and it's very seductive and it's very dangerous and it makes people sick. So one of the things that I used to do was my personal mission at Dragon Fest was grounding the vessels for the multiple drawing down, where several witches would be on the side of a hill and they draw down, and all of them choosing whatever god or goddess they did, sometimes multiple in a night. And people at the fest could go and talk to Athena, Diana, Loki. If you talk to me, you would have been talking to Set, right? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And people come away buzzing with Mauna Loa. And of course, you need grounders for experiences like that. Covens train this kind of stuff. The public does not. And because you have to rip all that Mauna Loa out, because you'll hang on to it and keep rebuilding the connection, right? The knowing part of us, right? The bridge to our most childlike nature really loves it. That's why witchcraft, well, in fairy witchcraft, we call it the sticky one, right? Anyways, I'm getting way off topic. Yeah. So yeah, sidebar, you could talk to me later about connections to the divine and how really we should be building this connection here, right? Not here. Wording. So a touchstone, keep a touchstone on the outside of your house. It can be anything that you personally relate to, but in the presence of which you know that you are safe, you are protected, you are relaxed, you are awake and aware, right? You're present. And that reminds you of some connection to beauty, divinity, awesomeness, whatever's in your wheelhouse. You know, you don't have to have faith in gods to be a witch and practice witchcraft, right? So if it's just I found this awesome shiny whatever thing and I feel like the most amazing human being when I have this, awesome, use that. If, however, you are a long-standing magic user with a connection with an entity, or you know who your what Crowley calls the holy guardian angel, right? You know who yours is. Awesome, great. So use a laman. If you're doing goetic work, right? This is all atropaic work. This is all, you know, give a little, feed your demon a little bit to protect you from the bigger uglies out there. So whatever frame you have to understand the object, a physical object should be outside of your house that you can spiritually connect to, re-energize, and it rebuilds that fast. Not using your own energy, just your own intent and heartfelt connection. Okay? There are also some protections that you can place on the outside that'll help keep that seal. Now, I've made hot foot powder before, so that's a fun one if you know about it. Hot foot powder is it's considered kind of the voodoo killing curse, right? That anyone who crosses the line will literally die, be attacked by kind of ghosty bits to drag him into hell. Drag me to hell. So it's that, right? It's the Avada Kedavra, right? In the Harry Potter mythology. With red brick powder, I'm iron nail filings and the graveyard or gravestone dust harvested off of the gravestone of a murderer. It was super fun putting it all together. And I'll let you know that some of the kids that went on the trip with me to do this all wound up getting tickets. It was hilarious, actually, because we went to Fairmount Cemetery with a running path along the back at midnight on a full moon. Kids, it was awesome. And yeah, the cops drove through, gave us all a ticket. It was hilarious. So my hot foot powder cost me $270 and a misdemeanor offense, but it was worth it. I put it around the perimeter of the covered land. And I don't have it here. Here I have what's called a witch bottle. And the original premise behind the witch bottle is if any malevolent entity or spirit tries to approach your home, they will have to count the bent nails in the jar before they can enter. And what it is just you just take a mason jar and you take nails, any kind of nails. You can go and you can get like I think they call them penny nails at the hardware store. They're literally like a cent a piece. And you just take them home and bend them up on a board and throw them until you have a full jar and bury that. There's one buried there, and there's one buried under the concrete behind my house because I had that poured. So I even have things poured in there. Right. Yeah. I'm getting into tech now. I hope you guys don't mind the switch over from theory to practice. This is where we're getting into like the practical sort of element of, I guess, the witchcraft course that I'm actually teaching here. So yeah, bend nails, throw them in a mason jar, bury them back, bury them front. They have one job, and that's to trap those malevolent energies. Awesome. Another thing you can use is ground up white egg shell. It's called cascarilla. It's used a great deal. Draja talks about its use, and I've used it for many places. It's particularly my home, and I always know and I can feel when the cascarilla has to be renewed. And you can get this at any Santeria shop, so anywhere where you can get dressed or fixed candles. With the saints on them, and the saints, of course, actually are like shorthand for some of for people like who was it? Aishun? Was it Aishun you were working with? Yeah. So Aishun and Aishu and my favorite, who I've worked with forever and ever, and that's the Saint Lazarus, who actually is Babalu, the sort of wounded healer. He's very Chiron energy, right? And is one of the most patient loving benefactors of humanity that whole pantheon has going. Yeah. So okay. So keeping that perimeter. I use cascarilla. It's real simple. It's ground. I grind my own, and then I bought it comes in these little paper cups, right, that they fill with the cascarilla, and it's dried. You scrape it out, scrape off a little bit, scrape off a little bit. So I grind my own eggshells, and I use the contagion of the blessing of cascarilla to just refresh it. So I use a mortar and pestle to grind up my eggshells, my white eggshells, let them dry, grind them up, take that little pill of cascarilla, scrape just a little bit into my eggshells, and then I keep those in a mason jar, and then sprinkle them around the outside perimeter of my house. I find about once a month it wants it. And Aishu will complain. He'll be like, I want rum. You need to give me cascarilla. I want eggshells. Just listen. It's easy enough. Okay. However, this particular poem from the Ballad of Biddy Early, this is where we're headed. Right. So those are some good practical things. You can find some of those techniques in our on Carlo and Clark. You can find some of those techniques in spiritual cleansing. They're super easy to do. Just really keep a touchstone on the outside of the house that you can send your energy and intention to, that is a permanent fixture or thing, like a stone or an evil eye or whatever it is.
Hey,
Right.
Shen Tat, we
Yeah.
have a question in the chat that says,
Go
is there
ahead.
a substitute for eggshells?
Well, huh. I mean, cascarilla is eggshells. And I'm wondering why the question. Do you have an allergy? You do. So you
Yes.
can't go anywhere near eggs. No, that's awesome. So, and is that all eggs or just chicken eggs?
I don't really know. I don't think I've been tested for anything other than chicken.
Okay, well, let's not go into the realm of risking it with you trying other eggs, because there are that are easily purchasable in the grocery store. But if egg, I wouldn't go there, right? So I wouldn't say try roe instead, or I wouldn't say right, which is like fish eggs, or try quail eggs. I wouldn't go there. Cascarilla is its own thing. If you can't go near eggs, and just so you know, there is a reason why egg is used, right? And that's that it is completely and 100% absorptive spiritually. And but anyways, chuck that idea. The only things that I have used other than cascarilla that I feel really comfortable and confident because of my own practice saying works is the no, not really. I would not use chalk. One of the things that I teach spiritually is the power of the thing is in its nature. You should understand the nature of chalk, right? And I would want to look at its science, like what is its contract with humanity in the world, right? And in other words, what does it do for this planet, right? How is it a part of this world, and what do we use it for? The only use that I know of for chalk is very temporary art, and using it as a means of communication, right? Written communication on the fly. I I would not use something so quickly dispersed as that at all. I would want something really that can stay longer than just it rains, it's gone. Um, the sun shines and a little bit of wind and it's gone. I would go a little more permanent than that. Now, the only thing that I've used other than cascarilla is the graveyard dirt from my own ancestors. So when I visited my sister's grave in Missouri, I brought back a nice chunk of soil from her grave, and I mixed that with, and Jade and I have a cauldron upstairs in the temple where we just, at any time we visit an ancestor, we grab some of the dirt, just scrape up the dirt, put the sod back down, right? And we bring it back home and we chuck it in there, and then we just churn it up. And if we have ashes from like my cat, her cat, two dogs, a portion of that goes in with graveyard dust, right? And the dirt, and we just keep that going. And I've used that to great effect, but you know, the power of the thing is in its nature. So, what can you use that is spiritually absorptive? Well, there are a bunch of things. Oh, well, actually, when you really think about the spiritual attributes, you know what I would go for? If I were you, I would, and you will not have a problem with this because it's hypoallergenic, and that's activated charcoal. You hearing me? Activated charcoal is safe internally and externally. Not only can it be used in the same way that chalk can as an instrument with which you write on paper, but activated charcoal is one of the most absorptive substances. The reasons why you eat it is actually to absorb acid in your body and bring you down to a base pH so that you can control reflux and excessive production of acid in the stomach. It also is cleansing and will help purify your entire GI tract and draw toxins out of your blood. It's amazing. Activated charcoal. Try it, Mama.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you betcha. And you can buy activated charcoal in bulk cheap. It's most people buy it. They pay for the pre-capsulated, but you don't even need that. What if you're not near family grave? Oh, if you're, then don't use that. Don't use that tech. If you're not near family graves, don't worry about it. That's not information for you. You can use Cascarilla, which I highly recommend. That is really, if I were to say use one thing in this class, try charcoal for you. Everyone else, please avail yourself of ground eggshell. The plant itself, the material itself is spiritually the most absorptive, cleansing. It's the first thing to indicate a problem of. In other words, you'll get your spidey senses and tingle coming up if something comes or approaches or breaks that perimeter. Really, there's a reason why there are eggs on the covers of this book. Right. I believe in their use. My wife uses them she uses them with her clients. She's a massage therapist, esthetician, and she does egg cleansings and egg readings all the time for her clients. They simply work. And I've used Cascarilla to keep this house warded and guarded for years and years and years. Lots of eggshells. Awesome. Perfect. Okay. So that's tech. Right. There are a bunch of different kinds of tech involved in this house, including now my bellwether, in other words, my telltale in case negativity is about to come at this house, right? And this is some old school, just dumb witchery. It's awesome. And that is a broom hung on the door. I am not kidding you. This broom, and the tech is based on, I think, an old wives' tale that you put a broom next to the door and it'll fall if bad company's coming. Well, let me tell you, it has worked so many times. And just as an example, the most recent time it fell off. We immediately knew that there was an issue and that there was bad company coming. We reached out to the coven. Sure enough, two of the coveners were embroiled in spiritual / political struggle with their own external magical groups. It works. Awesome. So tech. There's tech all over the house. We already talked about some of this tech on the inside. I think I mentioned stibnite, STIVNITE, a stone. It's got mercury in it. Don't handle it with your hands. But if you keep a piece of it near entrances or entrees to your house, right? We keep them on the door sills. So every door sill has a piece of tiny sliver of stibnite on top of it to help seal and protect that room in a chambered fashion, right? So the outside is protected by the Cascarilla. I've got Aishu guarding the front of my house. And I've got stibnite over all the windows and doors to keep negative. Spirit entities cannot stand the physical presence of stibnite, STIBNITE. And they simply can't be around it. I use it for ghost busting because anything that's like a hard entrenched impression on physical space. Oh, someone died and put their hand on here and now it's cursed, or there's a handprint, or blah, 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 or I feel a negativity or coldness in that corner. Take a piece of stibnite in, done, gone forever. So, anyways, yeah.
We have 2 comments in the chat. One
Sure.
was that asking about using chicory root, and one was
Sure.
asking about using crab shells.
Crab shells. Well, if there is tech that you know about with chicory root and crab shells, then please post it, and we can have a shared discussion and continue that shared discussion moving forward. I have never used them, so I don't know, and I don't know where the provenance would be. The just from an intuition as a witch, right? Chicory and knowing a little bit of herbalism, chicory's awesome. It's a friendly plant to humanity that it can extend coffee, but it also is pH basic. So like nettles and some other plants, does broom need to be upside down? No, it doesn't. It can be, you can mount it above the door. You can lean it against the door on the side. You can do it bristles up, bristles down, either direction. Just keep it near the front door. But it also, it's basic. So it soothes the stomach. It has great, you can even drink chicory tea. It's delicious. It's usually good with licorice. Yeah. But I'm not sure how you would use it from a warding perspective or guarding your house. So if you know tech, please share it. Awesome. And now I'm going to get to the deepest part of what I'm hoping to kind of convey today. And that's the spiritual truth that we want to create around the perimeter of our houses. This is the true spirit of warding, right? And setting wards on your house. Now, I taught this poem to other fairies, and we have used it to protect our own large, so not just our local coven, but the whole coven gathering, right, where we all have to travel and we all go to this great place in the East Coast. It's really gorgeous, super ooky spooky and very witchy. And anyways, someone is always on ward duty, right? Their job is to go and talk to the Okuakini, the land spirits, and get them worked up and set wards around the space so that we are unseen, unheard. Nobody knows that we're there, and they have no interest in going in, right? And we have used this poem with incredible effect on these retreats. So not just my own personal experience using this poem, but also a whole coven has used this over a couple of years and found incredible use out of it. And it simply works, right? But this is a little more spiritual tech. It's more subtle, right? So take a deep breath, let it out. Relax in your chair. You can close your eyes if you want. You can leave them open, but relaxed. This poem is called Charm of the Gold Road, the Silver Road, and the Hidden Road. On my thumb, I spun 2 roads from one thread, half silver, half gold. I made them and I laid them over the land and said, may those who follow you find gold, but not glowworms, coins, but not crickets, treasure, but not tree toads, silver, but not silence, money, but not moonlight, not magic, and not me. this is the truest and purest essence of the, just to give you provenance for the basic idea behind this tech. And this is a powerful expression of this tech, right? When we're creating Fairy Circle, and by the way, this is not oath-bound material published by many, many people. So if any of you are fairies, don't send the fairy police after me. I'm a trained initiate of Karina Blackheart. And this is all published. So go to hell if you don't like it. So in the circle casting liturgy for fairy, one of the most important moments, this culminant moment, right, where you've cast the circle and you've created your magical perimeter, your bridge between worlds, right? You've set it in place. We say this really beautiful liturgy, right? Where essentially we say, we reference a poem. I think it's by Gwydion Pentherwyn. I'll verify that and post it in the chat related to this or to the Divination Academy. But we reference a poem of his where he talks about some seeker, spiritual person, us, we're in that position, and we take that stance in the liturgy. We are that personae, right? We speak for that person. And he's a fairy, right? And he runs across this human adult male, and it becomes really clear that the human can see him, and he has to say, "You can see me?" And the human says, "Yeah, I can see you." "Really?" "Yeah, with one eye." "By which eye do you see me?" "Well, this eye, of course." And so the fairy stabbed out his eye. And we reference this poem in the creation of our circle, right? That we want to be in the position of the fairy. And if you can see us, we're gonna take the eye out. So we spiritually take our blade, and the last words of the circle casting as we thrust it outwards out of the circle is "by which eye." In other words, by which eye do you see me, so I can stab it out. We want to be unseen and protected. And that's the deepest essence. I'm going to read it again. This is the charm. So the creation of a magical talisman, like a lemon. The charm of the gold road, the silver road, and the hidden road. On my thumb I spun 2 roads from one thread going in, 2 roads coming out. Half silver, half gold, I made them and laid them over the land, created a perimeter for myself. And I said, may those who follow you, the strand, right? May those who follow you find gold but not glowworms. Money but not magic, right? We're going to get there. Gold but not glowworms, coins but not crickets, treasure but not tree toads, silver but not silence, money but not moonlight, not magic, and not me. In other words, no negative entity, no negative energies, no negative influences can breach this perimeter. That's warding. And simply going back over and over again to something like this, or the concept of by which eye, which I use. I think I'm casting at least once a week, and usually on Saturday when I do house cleaning. So I'll clean the house completely, right? Do a deep cleaning of some kind. Oh, bathrooms need done. Okay, do the bathrooms. Oh, floors need done. Oh, do a floor wash. Oh, there's something else. Hose down the back patio, right? And refresh all the stuff. Look, make sure I have candles, and make sure I have anointing oil, and light a candle for my God set, and talk to my ancestors and light a little thing for them, which, so these are the end, of course, have them help out with work too. Have you guys like uh, uh, keep watch, right, and protect us. There's Victor, the founder of our tradition, right, our tradition of witchcraft, right? So light a little candle, get it all going. Hestia, who protects this house, always has a candle in it, right? And so I crank up all the altars, clean the house, and then I set my wards. All right, so I reach out with whatever liturgy I'm using. And sometimes I pull out the ballad of Biddy early if I feel like I need big guns, like the house is under attack, right? Which has happened. My line of witchcraft has been subject to a great deal of negative attention by magic users. Oof, fucking stupid. Witch wars. They're so dumb. Ego. They're all ego based. But so yeah, and the line has been threatened by any number of outside bullshit. Just bullshit. God, yeah, indeed. That's how I feel about it. I've always like taken my ego out of the practice of witchcraft. It's not useful. But okay, awesome. So yeah, once a week I renew like the basic boundary, usually after I deep clean the house and reset my wards. And now I have also a personal relationship with what I call the Nephilim, or the guardians. There are 7 of them in my tradition, not just the 4. And so I call on those entity names to assist me, and here's why. I don't want to have to use all my energy, not when I have these batteries that I can just plug into and direct them as a source of power to keep these wards up. It's what they do. They guard and keep the circle. Right. It's even in most Wiccan liturgies talking about what the guardians or the Nephilim or the elementals do for our place, our domicile, right? Is they keep it, and they keep the perimeter. So I call on them, right? And I say, you, Kenneth, in the east, air, that one. He's also called Starfinder, I think, in like a branch of American Fairy, as well as like reclaiming. So if you've done any reclaiming work, you'll hear Starfinder in the east, right? Shining Flame in the south, and Watermaker and Black Mother in the north, right? But that's as simple as like the elemental wheel that the Native Americans use, right? With the 4-colored wheel, and each of the 4 colors have the different directions which relate to the different races that live on the continents, et cetera, right? And they have guardians, or these living non-corporeal intelligent entities that assist when it comes to the bailiwick, or the wheelhouse of air, thought, water, emotion, fire, will, etc. Earth, body. Okay. So there we go. We have some sources. We have some books that we covered. We covered some basic tech. Do a perimeter. Bent nails. I love Evil Eye. I think it works well. You have a diagnostic tool. Stibnite, you have a diagnostics tool, and that's your besom or broom near the front door and the back door. If you care to, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we put the word further out. Yeah. Questions? Have I lost you all? Hopefully not. Did I put you to sleep? I hope not. Oh, okay, good. All right, yeah. I'm glad I didn't put you to sleep at least. Oh, good, awesome, yeah. So, yeah, we've gone about an hour. We can keep going if you have specific questions. Sigils. Okay, so one of our co-students in this class mentioned sigils by the front door. So, you know, a special little treat. If you can, they are a great idea. Now, some friends of ours who are in kind of community, larger community, they were privileged enough to build their own home. May we all be so lucky someday. And so they had accumulated enough wealth that they were able to build their own home. And when they did that, of course, they were able to put sigils and protective talismans on all four corners of their poured foundation for their house. Yeah. So we have something similar, and we were as you can see, so there's a pentacle protecting our outside space, and it has a sister that lives underneath the floorboards in the base floor, so the underflooring, right? So not the beautiful vinyl that we have here, right? Not the vinyl flooring, but underneath the vinyl flooring, we were privileged enough to be able to install a new floor. So when we ripped out the old floor carpeting, I put a sigil underneath in this floor to protect this house. 5-pointed star with my own personal sigils and sigils of protection from both Jade and I's that reference both Jade and I's dedicated god and goddess, right? She worships Inanna, who is the Sumerian goddess, and I worship Set, who's an Egyptian god. Yeah, it was really cool. And it was fun to do. It was so easy. You know, all it takes is a little bit of measurement and like chalk lining, and then I just used like not tempera. It's plastic actually. What is just paint color? No, it's making me crazy. Not oil paint, but the plastic stuff. I can't.
Like
Anyway.
polyurethane?
Acrylic?
Yes. But it was so easy and so cheap. Yeah, acrylic paint. You got it. And it comes in every possible color. So you can like blend and do and make designs, and it dries very quickly, especially on something like flooring. And so it was awesome. I put down a white base everywhere, and then in each corner of the property, I put hand marked things, and then the giant pentacle is underneath the floor in the living room. And all of my coven had a little hand in kind of creating some part of it. It was really lovely. And that's also a permanent ward for my house. And if you're so privileged, yes, do avail yourself. You know, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm sure the sigils on your home are beautiful too. There was one last piece of tech I kind of wanted to hand off, and I forgot about it until just now. And that is, okay, let's say I create a perimeter. I do my spiritual cleansing. It's great. I'm able to cleanse me. I'm able to cleanse my house. I use my stibnite to get rid of like sad spots or cold spots. That's all done. And I set a ward, and I set an intention on that, and I have already talked to my guardians and guides, and they're powering it. So all I have to do is add intention, right? And let's say that perimeter gets breached at some point. Awesome. And you know that you have been seen by the eye of envy, or you have been seen by the eye of hatred, or insecurity, or theft, or. Here's a simple and easy tech is awesome. Do your cleansing again, reset your wards, and on the outside, like if I had to do it, I would do it on the on the inside of my fence so it doesn't piss off my HOA. But I would take mirrors, like little mirrors you can buy at a craft store, face the reflective surface away from the house, and glue it to the back of my fence. Same thing in the front. Take a mirror, turn it around. So if you have a decorative mirror that's easiest, that's hung from like picture wire, you can simply flip it and point it outward on the outside wall of your house. And it will deflect future prying eyes, envy, the attachment of thieves, etc., etc.
One of the questions that we got in the chat was, do you know of any covens in Connecticut?
I do not, because I don't live on the East Coast. What I can do is I can ask Karina if she knows of any Connecticut coven. The girl has been running around being a fabulous witch for 1,000 million billion years more than me, out on the East Coast, like in the Massachusetts area. So she may know, she may have some reach to people in Connecticut. I'll go ahead if you would like. Email me or connect to me through the school, right? So you can what is called Facebook Messenger me, or use the chat associated with this because I think the chat is persistent, isn't it, Alex? Like we can go back to the chat for this class over and over again, can't we?
Kind of. It does record on YouTube, so they can see the recording of the chat, but that's about it.
They can't comment on it or communicate through it?
Sadly, no. But you are, so Shen Tat is part of our private Facebook community group. So you can just find him on there and send him a message.
Please do. But do it through DiviNation Academy. I don't allow unsolicited friend connections, and if I don't recognize the name, I will not accept it, because there's a very hungry outer court for one of my traditions, and they're really, well, they're super toxic. People who want to be initiated, and so they kind of like sleaze around the outer edges, and they're always trying to get like entree to one of the initiates. And
that's awful.
Yeah, and a lot of them are on Facebook, and they're chasers, and they typically go from teacher to teacher to teacher to teacher, and
that's terrible.
Yeah, and when they're with their A teacher, they get really ravenous, like about people who reference fairy and that they don't know about. So stupid. This is how witch wars happen, by the way, is this kind of bullshit. Hungry outer courts. It's dumb.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, it really is. So
Melissa, what I'll do is I will actually right now, so I don't forget, because I forget everything. I will set up a little message so that you can talk to that. Yep.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Alex. That's great.
Here we go. Melissa, Melissa.
Any other questions?
through every argument. Fractionalist Kantian.
Nope.
Oh,
Okay.
it looks Honey said, this
Awesome.
is a great discussion in class, very clear, no questions.
Awesome. Great. I'm so glad. Perfect. And one last time, Raja Mikaharik, spiritual cleansing, incredible, super cheap. The Ballad of Biddy Early, just amazing, right? By Nancy Willard. And if you so care to, but I'm warning you, this is the book.
It's such a
And
good book, though. You guys should
it is.
totally read that book. It's amazing.
Little Big by John Crowley.
Oh, we
So
have a question in the chat. So
Yep.
somebody said, do you put iron on your four corners?
iron, yes, I should do. Yeah, great question. Yes, and very specifically iron filings. So so I literally take like a metal rasp and file down I use railroad stake that I got from a friend. And yeah. Yep. Anything else? Anyone else? Bueller? Going once, going twice? Awesome. Thank you so much for your time, everyone. Railroad stakes, that's right. Yeah, and Janice, railroad stake, and everyone else, railroad stakes are great. You can literally just hammer this in the corner of the yard, and it is fully invisible to everyone, and feeds your plants. Yeah, you betcha. Thank you, Alexis, for being here. I appreciate everyone's attendance. Thank you so much. Here's to you for showing up. And if you have any questions beyond this class, please do just post them to the main DiviNation Academy group and reference me, and I'll go ahead and see them. And I will answer any questions you have. Of course. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Shen Tat. Your classes are always amazing.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. Half the time I think I'm like bonkers, and I'm good, like I reference so many things that are like there's a lot of context.
Honestly, that's
it's not
part of what
always
makes it amazing.
included, and I'm aware of that. And sometimes people say I kind of speaking code because I'm referencing this, and this references this, and this reference again. By the way, that's from this and this and this and this, and everything is tangential. So of course, good night, Janice. So I always get this story leads to this story, and I dance around a subject forever and ever before I really touch the core center of it.
But I love that.
I'm glad I make sense. Hopefully
you do. And it's always amazing. And I love that there's so much context to it, because it forces you after the class to go study, and that's what you want.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, and someone mentioned, can I put like write down those 3 books? Yeah, as soon as we get off this call, I'll go ahead and attach a comment in DiviNation Academy. These are the books that we talked about tonight. So you'll be able to find it in the main group. Yeah, you betcha. Anything else? Nope. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone. Mwah, mwah. We'll see you next time. I'll go ahead and post his date as soon as I find out when I can for Ghost Busting. That'll be the 3rd installment of this class.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I can't wait for that class.
Gotcha. I think you can stop the recording then, and I think we're good.
Perfect. Awesome.